Okay, so I have been wanting to make this video for the longest time, and I keep chickening out because it feels like a lot to say out loud. But honestly, that's exactly why I need to say it, because nobody is being real about this, and I am so tired of the internet giving guys watered-down advice that doesn't actually help anyone. So today, we are talking about the 8 things women secretly want men to do on a first date. And when I say secretly, I mean the things we talk about with our friends at 2 in the morning that we would never in a million years just volunteer to a guy we're seeing. The unspoken wish list, the stuff that lives in the back of our minds on a first date while we're smiling and asking about your job. And I'm going to give you the psychology behind each one because I think understanding why we want these things is what makes this actually useful rather than just a list you forget in 20 minutes. Number 1. And I'm starting here because I think this sets the tone for everything else. We want you to be the one who takes control of the plan. Not in a controlling way, in a decided way. There is a massive difference, and it matters enormously. When a guy texts me, "So what do you want to do?" before a first date, my interest drops immediately, and I'm not proud of that, but it is the truth. Not because I can't make decisions. I make decisions all day long. I'm a very decisive person, but because on a date, I want to feel like you wanted this enough to think about it. Like you cared enough to have a plan. I went on a date once where a guy had mapped out this whole evening. Started at this tiny wine bar he'd clearly researched. Then we walked to this food market nearby. Then ended up at this overlook spot that he said he'd found randomly, but I'm pretty sure he scouted. And I was so attracted to the intention of it. He never asked me what I wanted to do. He just created something and invited me into it. And the difference between being invited into something and being consulted about logistics is the difference between feeling desired and feeling like a scheduling problem. Take the lead. Make the plan. We will tell you if we hate it. Number 2, we want you to be physically present in a way that is actually kind of rare. And what I mean by this is put your phone away and mean it. Not face down on the table where I can still see you glance at it. Away. Gone. Not a factor. I know that sounds like basic etiquette, but you would be genuinely shocked how few people actually do this. I went on a date last year with a guy who checked his phone 4 times in the first hour, and each time he did it, I felt myself disconnecting a little more. Not because I needed his undivided attention in a needy way, but because attention is the currency of a first date, and every time he looked at that phone, he was spending it somewhere else. The guy who puts his phone in his pocket at the start of the night and doesn't touch it again, who makes you feel like you are the most interesting thing in his environment right now, that guy becomes attractive almost instantly because full presence is genuinely one of the rarest things a person can offer, and we feel the difference immediately. And from a psychology standpoint, this matters because women decide very early in a first date whether they feel valued, and nothing communicates value faster than undivided attention. Number 3, and this is where it starts getting a little less PG, we want you to flirt with actual intention. Not the safe kind of flirting. Not the compliment her hair and ask about her job flirting. Real flirting. The kind that has a little danger in it. The kind that makes her aware that you find her attractive in a specific physical way without being crude about it. There is an art to this, and most guys are either way too safe or way too much, and the sweet spot is where all the magic lives. The way you look at her when she says something, holding the eye contact a beat longer than comfortable. The comment that could mean 2 things and you both know it. The moment where you lean in slightly and say something quiet enough that she has to lean in too. I had a guy on a date once who looked at me right in the middle of a completely normal conversation and said, "You're really hard to not look at, you know that." Completely calm, no smirk, just said it like a fact, and I genuinely had to take a sip of my drink to collect myself. That is the energy. Confident, intentional, slightly dangerous flirting that lets her know you're not sitting across from her thinking about her as a friend. We need to feel that pull early. We need to know you see us that way. And if the entire first date goes by and we're not sure whether you actually find us attractive or not, that uncertainty does not make us want a second date. It makes us anxious and then distant. Number 4, we want you to touch us first. And again, there is a right way and a wrong way, and the difference matters. Wrong way is grabby, unexpected, performative. Right way is light, intentional, natural. The hand on the lower back for just a second when you're guiding her through a door. The brief touch on the arm when you're making a point. Sitting close enough that there's incidental contact and not immediately creating space. These small touches do something neurologically. They release oxytocin, they create warmth and familiarity, they start building the physical comfort that needs to exist before anything else can. I remember a first date where a guy touched the small of my back for literally 2 seconds when we were walking into the restaurant, and I thought about that touch for the rest of the night. That is not an exaggeration. It was so brief and so intentional, and it told me without words that he was comfortable with me, that he found me attractive, that he was not going to spend the whole night sitting at a polite distance, wondering whether to make a move. It relaxed me. And when a woman relaxes around you on a first date, the whole night changes. Number 5, we want you to ask the question nobody else asks. And by this I mean, go deeper than the surface stuff faster than feels normal. Most first dates are a horizontal tour of someone's life. Where are you from? What do you do? Do you have siblings? How long have you lived here? And it covers ground, but it doesn't build real connection because real connection comes from depth, not breadth. The guys who stand out, the ones we go home thinking about, are the ones who at some point in the evening pushed past the surface and asked something real. What are you actually trying to build with your life? What is something you believe that most people around you don't? What does a perfect day look like to you, and be specific? What are you most afraid of right now? I went on a date with a guy who asked me at some point, okay, but what do you actually want? Like, not the resume version, the real version. And I sat with that question for a second because nobody had asked it quite like that, and then I just started talking, really talking. And that conversation lasted 4 hours, and I drove home at 2 in the morning feeling like something had shifted. The question did that. One real question opened everything. Ask the real thing. Number 6. And I want to be honest about this one because I think it's the one women are least likely to admit. We want you to make it clear that you want us. Physically, not crudely, but clearly. There is a specific moment on a good first date where the energy shifts and it stops being a getting to know you situation and starts being something charged and electric, and we need you to be the one who acknowledges that shift. Not with a speech, not with a big move. Sometimes it's just in the way you look at her when there's a lull in conversation. Sometimes it's saying something low and direct that makes the temperature of the interaction change. Sometimes it's just the quality of your attention. Like you're not just interested in her mind, you're interested in her, all of her, and she can feel that. Women are incredibly attuned to desire. We can feel when it's there and we can feel when it's absent, and the absence of it on a date, even a great date, leaves us feeling kind of flat. Like something was missing. Like the spark didn't catch, even though all the materials were there. Be clear about your attraction. Not crude, not pressuring, but clear. Let her feel wanted. It is one of the most powerful things you can do on a first date, and most guys are too scared to do it properly. Number 7, we want you to end the date before we're ready for it to end. And this sounds counterintuitive, so let me explain the psychology of it because it's actually fascinating. There is this principle in psychology about peaks and endings, that we remember experiences based on how they felt at their peak and how they ended, not based on their total duration. And the best dates end while they're still good, while the energy is still high, while she's still in it. The worst thing you can do is let a great date bleed past its peak into the awkward, tired territory where neither of you know how to end it, and it just kind of dissolves. The best dates end with her wanting more. With her in the car on the way home feeling this pleasant dissatisfaction, like something good was just beginning and got paused. I've had dates end that way, and the feeling is incredible. You're already looking forward to the next one before you've even gotten home. Leave her wanting more. It is not a game. It is just good instinct about energy and momentum and what keeps something feeling exciting. And number 8, the last one, and honestly the one that I think matters most of all, we want you to make a move at the end of the night and not make it weird. And by make a move, I mean be direct about the fact that you want to see her again, or be direct about the physical thing that the whole night has been building toward. Because here's what happens when a great date ends ambiguously. She goes home, she replays it, she starts second-guessing whether you actually liked her or were just being friendly. She talks herself into and out of texting you approximately 9 times, and by morning, she has manufactured enough uncertainty that the feeling from last night has gotten complicated. All of that is avoidable if you just say the thing. I want to see you again, soon. Are you free Thursday? Or, if the night went the way some first dates go, being direct and calm and adult about what you want and letting her make a choice from a place of clarity rather than confusion. Women do not want to guess. We want to know. We want you to be decisive about us the same way we wanted you to be decisive about the plan at the start of the night. Bookend the date with intention. Start with a plan and end with a clear next move, and everything in between will feel so much more real. So here's what all 8 of these things have in common. And I want you to actually hear this part. Every single one of them is about intention. Taking control of the plan. Intention. Putting your phone away. Intention. Flirting with danger. Intention. Touching first. Intention. Asking the real question. Intention. Making your desire clear. Mean intention. Ending at the peak. Intention. Making a direct move. Intention. She does not want perfect. She does not want a performance. She wants to feel like you showed up for this, like you thought about it, like she was worth the intention. Because most people move through first dates on autopilot, and the guy who is actually present and purposeful and clear about what he wants, that guy feels completely different from every other date she's been on. And different is what she thinks about when she gets home. Different is what makes her text her best friend at midnight. Different is what gets you a second date. Be intentional about all of it. That's Lexi's advice.